Hey, what's up, guys? Fighting off a bit of a cough here. Try not to cough into the mic too much, but I wanted to at least reply to Timer's video here. I got up and after a long nap. Um, he was specifically talking about like Super Saiyan 3 and power scopes and stuff like that. And I think for me at least, it's one of those things where Super Saiyan 3 is between excuse me, is between like being absolutely everything or being absolutely nothing. Like it very much depends on the group that you're in, the group that you're with, the NPCs that you're around, and everything like that. Like Atticus or Omen or Casimir, like if they were Super Saiyan 3, like they'd be everything. Like Cass would likely rule his planet undisputed from at least the little bit that I've seen about it. But like if you made Zeratul Super Saiyan 3s, like I feel like he'd still get smacked around by Herald, or he'd still get the galaxy he was living in blown up by Stargazer. Like it's like that level of moving hard and hitting moving fast and hitting hard, like it has a fall off point when you start to get like to intergalactic destruction level. Like even if it's like planetary destruction level, like I feel like a Super Saiyan could still succumb. So a Super Saiyan 3 could still succumb to that. Um, so yeah, it's definitely tricky. Like where I feel like I've made it is probably more a reflection of the story that I'm experiencing at the time, rather than the level that I hit. Like if you're a Super Saiyan amongst, you know, Captain America level heroes, like yeah, you've made it. Like you're probably the people, the fighter people watch out for on that planet, not just like that area, like just an area. Like if that's the scope of the thing you're in, like hitting Super Saiyans, you've made it. Like even like talking about, I think like the Vindicate, how they were saying, Keith says they think he's on the Super Saiyan 1 level, where Kari thinks they're closer to Super Saiyan 2. It's like being a street level hero at that level is pretty everything. But being exposed to the larger world out there, like especially in Timer's game, it's like Super Saiyan 2 is far from the top of the food chain, like when you're talking about like multiversal beings and stuff like that. There was some interesting stuff I did, because I was going to address this in another video, but this one kind of ties it in. I went. This is more for not for Curry, but based on what Curry was saying, as this is based on 3 years old information inside of Legends. Like I said, this document was shared in 2015, but when there was a population of 2.5 billion Saiyans, um, and I think that was in like it was in a single dimension. Since then, like Saiyans have been more multi-dimensional. Nairobi's been out there killing them, and then like keeping the strongest ones for his squad, whereas the Mystic Saiyans have been out there trying to save them from like different multiverses. So it's like that number probably goes up and down, like it fluctuates a bit. But like let's just assume 2.5 billion. So he has that there are tens of millions of Super Saiyan 1s. So tens of millions, let's assume that's between 10 million and 90 million. That's between 3.6 and 0.4% of the population. So it's like you're already at the top 5%, if not better than the top 1%, being Super Saiyan. In that regard, in Timer's game, like you could, based on that info, assuming it's accurate, you would assume that a Super Saiyan is everything until you, like I said, until you find yourself in a sphere of influence with NPCs that are stronger than that. Like, okay, so at least within the respects of like the Saiyan population as a whole, like you're already the top 5%. So, no, you're better than that. Like you're anywhere between top 3, like let's say top 4 and top 1%, just being a Super Saiyan. Most of the people you're going to run into are not going to be as potent as you. They're not going to be as strong as you. Not going to be as fast as you. And they're not going to be able to make that jump to hit that level. But then, like I said, we all know that Super Saiyan isn't everything because there's a lot of other crazy stuff out there. But within that narrative scope, SS1 could, like I said, being the top 5% of a population of a species is already pretty everything. So Super Saiyan 2 is 0.04%, so less than a tenth of a percent. So as far as like the top, as being like the top of your race, like Super Saiyan 2, that's why I was so on the thing of like no, like starting Super Saiyan 2 is everything. Being the top 0.04% of your race, that means like that you've kind of made it from. Now again, like this is based on things that were like 3 years ago and change. But like I said, even if those numbers have fluctuated, but let's say like those numbers have doubled, like you're still like, I mean, like let's say they doubled, you're still like 0.08%. So you're still like better than the top 0.1% of your race, which is still astronomically an outlier. Now, like I said, as far as like narrative scopes go with DMs and stuff like that, they tend to create stories that you have situations where you're challenged, like things by things around you. So it's like, yeah, it might not seem like that. It might not seem like you've made it. It might not seem like you're everything at that level. But like from a you versus any other NPC in the universe, chances are like you've already made it. You've made it a lot more will ever hope to gain. And then like I said, I didn't even do like the stuff for Super Saiyan 3 and 4. Like those numbers are what? There's 10,000 SS3s. So it's like that's like fractions of percentages. Like that's crazy. And then there's hundreds of SS4s. So it's like the fact that you guys know them in some of your story arcs, everything like that. It's like of them very because there's that upper echelon of power that you've broken into. But like you go to like anywhere else, outside that sphere, it's like your chances of running into someone that by nature of probability are very low. Now, by nature of storytelling, they might be higher. And like I said, it might be there's that perception that, the only Saiyans I know are like Super Saiyan 3, 4, and 5. It's like, yeah, like if you're in a certain narrative where you're a very powerful, being, like that might be the minimum level that's required to challenge you. But it's like there's a very finite number of people out there like that. So like that's something at least I keep in mind whenever dealing with these things. And like I said, with it specifically with what excuse me, sorry guys, with what Timir had said about like when do you feel like you've made it. Like I feel like I've made it when I reach a point where within whatever story I'm involved in, like I feel like I've kind of finally get the upper hand. And that doesn't happen often in the real world. Like, I mean, like, Cass almost, like, okay, so Cass doesn't feel like he's made it, but, like, he feel like, I definitely get as I play more and more, I get the impression, like, I am, like, this top 1% of my species. Now, there's someone who can go out there and rough me up, or, like, I can get kidnapped and, run in a car accident. Like, I'm not, like, a Super Saiyan to normal humans. Hold on. Sorry guys, this is why I canceled that session on Keith tonight. But I did want to try to get a video out. I'll try to wrap it up here, but yeah, like I said, with Cass, that's kind of how I view it. Lost my train of thought. With like being that top percentage, feeling you making it, like I don't feel like I'd assign it to a specific power level, because for different stories it's going to be different, different stories, different NPCs you're surrounded by, everything like that. It's going to be different levels that you're going to experience that same that sensation of making it goes, which is like part of the fun of real world. Like sometimes you make it, sometimes you're on top for a while, sometimes you're never on top. Yeah, but like I said, that's kind of the way it goes. That's at least my thoughts on it. I'm going to cut out now before I start hacking more into the thing. Sorry about the coughs there. Hopefully you guys could make it through.